How you doing, YouTube? Matt, Massive Beer Reviews, back with the best of hops. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, my year-end videos. I love doing these. They're some of my favorite videos to do. It sucks to edit them, but I will get them done regardless. And this is the hops video. This is the best of hops, the 2018 best of hops. Now, what does that mean? Basically, it means it's my favorite hop-forward beers I reviewed in 2018, not had. There's actually some that I had that aren't on this list just because I didn't cover them. I didn't review them. But these are the ones that if I did them towards the butt end of December till pretty much Christmas, they're going to be on this list. So let's cut to the chase. You're going to see like a little thing here with best of hops and then some videos and graphics or something over here depending on how much time I have to edit stuff. Here we go. So let's see. Number 10. I had some honorable mentions, actually. I'll fire them off real quick. You're not going to see a graphic for them. I loved Columbus. I got a beer mail, and I got Columbus Brewing. It was their Yakima Fresh. That was pretty fucking awesome. But it didn't make the list. So Hill Farmstead Double Citra. Calusa Brewing Citronous. I really dug that beer. Parish Brewing's Bloom, DDH Bloom, was fantastic. And just outside of a new brewery in upstate New York, Mortalis, it was the first beer I had from them, Artemis. It was fucking awesome. So, yeah, a little bit of honorable mentions, but let's get to the juicy portion of the show. See what I said there? The juicy portion of the show? I'm not a comedian. Anyway, number 10, the Vale Brewing's White Ferrari. Yeah, I love that beer. It was delicious. I kind of opened it doing the whole kind of white panda thing from Chappelle's Show. So I rarely kind of go weird like that, but the beer itself is awesome. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm the biggest Vale fan. History of Mankind, but that beer really did it for me. It was big, bold, fantastic. Everything you want from a double IPA. So, yeah, fantastic stuff. Let's see. Number 9 was The Alchemist Holy Cow. That was actually a beer I did on my honeymoon. I was up in Vermont with the wifey, and I did a kind of live beer review. I think it was live, or I taped it and uploaded that night, and it was me and her kind of sitting in our Airbnb. And I thought it was pretty fantastic. It was very old school, very chuggable, very sessionable. It was, you know, The Alchemist. I was a little bit on an Alchemist high that day. It was the day I actually went to go interview John Kimmick from The Alchemist. And it was just such a great experience to do that interview in general. But the beer, I was like, this is fantastic. This beer is everything I want from a chuggable, kind of, you know, danky, resinous forward beer. And I got back and I kept drinking them and I went, okay, it wasn't just the moment. The beer was that good. So it was absolutely a fantastic beer. Number, what was that? 8. Jeez, I didn't number them. That's my fault. 8, Carton Brewing. It's their Inside Our DNA Oak Aged IPA. This is fantastic. I actually had this on draft standing next to Augie Carton from Carton Brewing. It's the first time I ever had it. And he was like, what do you think? And it was awesome. And there was a cool lead up to this beer is that he kind of told me he was making this beer a year earlier. He was just kind of, we just got to chatting on Facebook. It was the first time we really kind of shot back and forth, kind of just shooting a shit. And he was like, oh, I want to let you know a little secret. He's like, I'm going to make a homage to Ballantine, which was from Jersey, out by his way, Jersey City, Newark area. And he was telling me about how he got the old fucking yeast from Ballantine. Who was that, Ken Grossman, I think, or something like that. Basically stole the old kind of Chico yeast from there and then kind of made the rounds, and he got it back, and he was like, I'm going to make basically my homage to Ballantine. And I was just like kind of laughed at it because my grandfather was a picker-packer at Ballantine. So it was kind of a full circle thing. All that being said, I had it on draft and I thought it was quite nice. I ended up getting a can about a couple weeks later and it was fantastic. It's everything I want. And kind of an oak-aged, kind of long-haul IPA. It actually fits 2 forms. It was absolutely great fresh, but I have some I want to see how it's going to age. So it's just a multi-tool kind of beer. And it was just, again, a heaping helping of old school with a nice dash of new school, which is pretty much my wheelhouse. Let's see. Number 7, Treehouse Brewing Baby Bright. It's kind of weird to not do one of these with Treehouse on a list. I mean, nowadays everybody talks about how it sucks up there. I'm not one of those people. I'm not going to say beer doesn't change, but more times than not, I think half the stuff they throw out of there is fantastic. I'm still all about Team Julius. But the Baby Bright I had, my buddy Keith dropped off a can for me, and it was super low ABV, super awesome chugger. I wanted to put this on my chuggable list. I don't know if I did or not. but if not, it should be. It was just absolutely fantastic beer, and everything I wanted from a hop forward crusher. Let's see. Number 6, Twin Elephant Brewing's Little Shimmy Yay, American Pale Ale. Twin Elephant, new brewery by me. They're actually on my list a couple times, a couple other lists you'll see them come up on. And what they do is just really nice stuff. They do a lot of hazies, and they can get a little heavy-handed with how hazy some of their beers get, but this one in particular, and here's the weird part about it, is that I didn't go back and watch this review. I don't know how I actually scored it. In my brain, I actually don't give scores to beers, but I don't know how I actually talked about it in the review, but I had this beer a couple times since, randomly on draft accounts, and it's just fantastic. So if I said it was a good beer, but it needs some work, well, they worked on it, and now it's fucking fantastic. Let's see, number 5, Spindle Tap Brewing. It's their Juiced-In. This is sent by viewer Rob. He sent off a whole bunch of Spindle Tap beers and a whole bunch of Texas-based beers, a couple of other ones going to make the list. And it was like probably the best hazy I've had from that region of the United States, down there in the South. I had some Spindle Tap before. The Houston Haze was absolutely fantastic. I had it a year earlier. Buddy dropped one of those on me, but that Juiced-In was absolutely fantastic. I didn't get it at the time, but it was, you know, it's kind of an homage to the Houston Astros too, and the old school uniforms, like Nolan Ryan ones. And I just, the can blue was cooler even after the fact when I realized what the hell was going on. So yeah, absolutely great haze coming out from down there in Texas land. Number 4, Conclave Brewing's Trees of Green Double IPA. Conclave, I'm a fan. They're local to me. You're going to see a lot of local stuff in a lot of my videos, but that's because that's the beers I drink. And their hop forward stuff had been quite nice leading up to this beer. And then I forget what it was. I think it was just, I was grocery shopping. So Conclave's about 45 minutes, an hour away from me. 45 minutes more like it. And about 25 minutes south of here is the closest grocery store. Every now and then I'll go grocery shopping and I'll be like, hey, we have cans today. And I'm like, fuck it, I'll drive the extra 20 minutes and I'll get them. But it's the first, or I go to that area in general. There's actually another brewery down there that does cans like that too. Anyway. They had this, and this is like the first time I went there for like just the can release. Like I've been there before and they've had stuff and I picked it up. And I picked this up and it was a departure from a lot of their other can designs. I was like, okay, and a little refresh just in the label itself. It was also a change in how they brewed their beers, as far as I'm concerned. It was so fucking ranky-danky, green, fucking icky-sticky. It was so delicious. It was an epiphany when it came to the brewery. I always enjoyed the brewery, and I like their stuff. You can see I've done quite a few of their reviews, but this one in particular just kind of did it for me. And yeah, it's fantastic stuff. So, you know, if you're ever down that Flemington, New Jersey way, definitely worth a stop. Let's see, number 3. This is a collaboration between Hop Butcher for the World and Arcane Distilling. It's called their Traveling Scientist. This beer was not just delicious from a knee-jerk perspective, but it was fantastic in that it was something new. You don't see a lot of new when it comes to kind of hops. Sure, you get your, you know, your milkshake this and different kind of stuff that. But they had this distilling company distillate some hops and add it to the beer, and it really did show. The beers came off, the beer came off just this kind of, I call it like an oily, musky funkiness that I never really experienced in the way the hops are manipulated in a beer before. It wasn't just a trick though. It played really well. The beer was really good. I mean, it's not a matter of just they did this one thing cool, so that's the reason why I enjoyed it. It was a fantastic beer that was just even elevated even further by this technique of distilling hops and kind of adding that hop oil to it. It was just great. I know people have done the whole hop oil thing, but this just came off different to me. Maybe the process they use is different. I don't know, but it was absolutely fantastic. I mean, it was maybe about a month and a half ago it came out. If you could still find some, I'm sure it's still held up. Worth a get. The last two are really hard. And number 2 is very, very close on these two. Number 2, Equilibrium, straight out of the laboratory. This is a triple IPA. It was pretty much the first beer they kind of made after their big kind of like summerish tour. They were kind of out and about doing things overseas. Pete and Will, mind you, and Ricardo were. Their head brewer, Ryan, is pretty much here from the get all the time. But it was like they were bouncing around, kind of jet setting all over the place because, you know, they're kind of cool like that. And they came back and they released this one. And I hadn't gone to Equilibrium in like a billion years. And it was a rainy day, and it wasn't like a collab or anything fancy they were kind of promoting. So I was like, I'm going to go up, man, because it's rainy and it's not promoted crazy. So I know there's not going to be a billion people. And there was like, you know, I just went to one actually 2 days ago, and there was like 200 people there. And it's fun. It's fun when they have the big crowds because they have food and you can drink, and it's just a great party. But this was like, you know, 30, 40 people just hanging out, having a good time, and just end up hitting it out of the park with this kind of triple IPA. It just blew me away. I know a couple other people have had it. Rob from Hopscene, oddly enough, over in the UK, picked up a can when they were over there doing a can release, and it was just an absolute killer beer. I mean, from the hazy side of things, it doesn't get much better. It only gets just a hair better when you have number one, which would be Putty from Verdant Brewing. That beer was fantastic. I mean, that was my kind of, okay, the UK is doing shit right epiphany. Because I had a gentleman kind of reach out to me on Instagram and be like, hey man, be like, do you want to do a beer trade from the UK? And I said, yes. I never do beer trades. I really don't do them at all. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, let's do it. You know what I mean? And he sent me off a box. I think it was 12 cans of beer. And there was a bunch of great stuff in there. Some Northern Monk, some Cloudwater, you know, Magic Rock, and there was some Verdant stuff in there. And I ripped through those. But that Putty, man, that was some crazy shit. And it was by far and away, I don't want to say by far and away, that and Straight Outta Laboratory were probably the most impactful, crazy hazies that I had all year. It was a beautiful beer, and I know other people had it up there on their boards too. Again, Rob from Hopscene, being a UK beer, was on a lot of those guys over there. One of their favorite beers. I think even Peter from Master of Hops was a big fan of that one too. But yeah, absolutely fantastic beer. But all these were great. I mean, really, I could shuffle some of these around and be okay with their order. But those are essentially my kind of top 10 with a little bit of honorable mention with it. So there you go. A little bit of top 10 hop forward hazy, mostly hazy. There's a couple non-hazies in there. Delicious goodness. So hopefully you guys had a bunch of these beers. If you didn't, I mean, if they make their way around, some of these are going to stand the test of time. You know, you have like Carton inside our DNA. You know what I mean? Holy cow! Those beers you're going to be able to get. They either you know stand the test of time or they get re-released. Same thing with like little Shimmy from Twin Elephant. But if you can get these, I implore you. Or let's flip the script. Have you had these and do you agree with me? Or is there some beer that I reviewed that you feel like I whiffed on, or you're like, man, that should have been on your list, or at least in the honorable mention? So, yeah, if that is the case, go back, check all my shit, let me know if I screwed up anywhere. Let me know if you agree with me. Let me know if you had any hazies that you thought were, or hop forward beers. Why do I keep saying hazies? Hop, because I love the word hazy. Hop forward beers that you dig, you had this year, that you can't wait to have again. And hopefully you guys enjoyed a year in beer. Hopefully you enjoyed a year of hops. Hopefully see you next time. Cheers.